It is a little after 7 on the last morning of the cruise. The line at the guest services desk already runs 40 people deep, everyone clutching a printed bill. Near the front, a couple in their late 60s is trying to work out why their final total came in $300 higher than they expected, and their flight leaves in 4 hours. Nobody ever warned them about any of it. That is how a cruise really goes wrong for someone over 65. Not a storm and not some dramatic scam at sea, just a few small habits nobody mentions until the money is already gone or the day is already ruined. So here are 21 of those habits counted down to the few that can genuinely end a trip. We start where the money quietly leaks out, then the rules that carry real fines, and the serious ones are waiting for you at the end. And number 7, the mistake that put that couple in that line is the one almost everyone watching has already made. Let us get into it. Number 21, and it starts with the price you already booked. A cruise fare looks close to all-inclusive, and it simply is not, and that gap is where the first surprise lives. The advertised fare buys you the cabin and the food in the main dining room, and not a great deal more. Daily gratuities get added on top, and on the mainstream lines in 2026 that runs somewhere around $17 to $20 per person per day every single day, whether you think about it or not. On a week-long sailing for two, those automatic gratuities alone can run past $200 before you have bought a single drink. Then come the drink package, the Wi-Fi, the specialty restaurants, the shore tours, the photos, the port taxes. A cruise advertised at $500 a person can realistically land at double that once everything is counted up. The fix is not to panic, and it is not to skip the cruise. Build the real number before you book. Take the fare, add the gratuities for the full sailing, add the packages you genuinely know you will use. Then look at that total instead of the pretty one in the ad. The surprise is never the cruise itself. It is the math nobody did at the kitchen table first. Number 20, the mini bar, and it catches the very people who paid extra for the unlimited drink package. The package covers the bars and the restaurants. It does not cover the bottles and snacks sitting in your cabin, and the cruise line is in no hurry to make that clear. Prices in there run a few dollars above the bar, so after a long hot day in port, you reach for a cold water without a second thought, and by the end of a 7-night sailing, those little grabs have quietly become a real line on your final bill. The fix takes 10 seconds on the first afternoon. Ask your cabin steward to empty the mini bar out completely, then it is just an empty fridge waiting for your own water and your medication, and nothing in it can charge you by accident at midnight. Now, the shore excursions, which is number 19, and the one that genuinely annoys experienced cruisers once they catch on, book a tour through the ship, and you are very often paying 30 or 40% more than the person standing next to you who booked the exact same operator and often the very same boat right there at the pier. Travelers compare notes at dinner all the time and discover the couple across the table paid half for the identical snorkel trip, booked direct. What the cruise line is really charging you for is the guarantee. If their tour runs late getting back, the ship waits for you. Book on your own and run late, and the ship leaves without you, and that is suddenly your problem to solve in a foreign port. So here is the honest verdict, because it cuts both ways. For a far-off port, a long drive inland, or anywhere you tender ashore on a little boat, the ship's tour and that safety net are worth the markup. For an easy port where the beach or the old town sits right by the terminal, booking direct is low risk and real money back in your pocket. Number 18, and here is where you resist the easy click. The cruise line will offer you travel insurance at booking with one tap, and you should slow down long enough to compare because their own policy is rarely the best value for an older traveler. The convenient version often pays you back in cruise credit instead of actual cash if you cancel, and the medical and evacuation coverage tends to run thinner than what you can buy elsewhere for similar money. Medical evacuation is the figure that truly matters once you are past 65. Getting airlifted off a ship or moved out of a foreign hospital can run well into 6 figures, and that is the one limit you want generous rather than bare. Read the fine print on pre-existing conditions too, because that is exactly where the cheaper-looking cruise line policies quietly fall short for older travelers. Get 2 independent quotes from the bigger travel insurers before you accept anything, and compare that evacuation number line by line. I will be blunt about this one. The policy they push at checkout is usually the weakest value on the table, and you should treat it that way. Number 17, the deposit you pick at booking. A non-refundable deposit saves you a little upfront, usually $50 to $100 a person, and if your plans are carved in stone, that is a fair trade. For most older travelers, it is a false economy. A health issue can come up, a family situation can come up, and a booking made 10 months out is a long time to ask life to sit perfectly still. The refundable deposit costs a bit more, but it protects the whole amount until the cancellation window opens, which on most lines falls a couple of months before you sail. The same thinking goes for private shore tours. Book the refundable versions because ports get canceled more than people expect. For weather or rough seas or a tender that cannot safely run, and a non-refundable tour you prepaid is then just money gone. A quick one for number 16, never book a spa treatment on a sea day. Sea days are exactly when the spa is slammed and the prices sit at their peak because the whole ship is aboard with nothing else to do. Book it on a port day instead, when most of the passengers are ashore and the spa is quiet and quietly discounted, often 20 to 30% below the sea day rate. It is the same therapist and the same warm room, just at a calmer hour and a lower price. Number 15, the Wi-Fi that feels broken. Plenty of seniors buy the internet package mainly to call the grandkids, then decide it does not work because every video call freezes up. The package is usually not the problem. The timing is the real culprit. Ship Wi-Fi runs on shared satellite bandwidth split across the whole vessel, and after dinner, especially on a sea day, 2,000 or 3,000 people reach for their phones in the same hour and it grinds to a crawl. That identical package that feels useless at 8 at night will run fine at 6 in the morning or late after midnight when most of the ship is asleep. Plan the call home for early before the ship wakes up and you will actually see their faces instead of a frozen square. This next one, number 14, is decided before you ever set foot on the ship, and it quietly shapes the entire week. Seniors get let down by a cruise far more often because the ship was a poor fit than because the ship was bad. The big mainstream lines, Carnival and Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, are built around energy and noise and crowds and activity from morning until late at night. That is a wonderful week for some people and an exhausting one for others. The premium and luxury lines, names like Holland America, Celebrity, Viking, and Oceania, run quieter ships with an older crowd, calmer days, better dining, and a slower pace that suits a lot of older travelers far better. Neither one is better than the other. They are just two very different vacations wearing the same word. Before you book, look up the average passenger age and the feel of a typical sea day on the specific line and pick the one that matches how you actually want to spend your time. A travel agent who really knows cruising can match you to the right line in a single phone call, and on this one decision, that advice is well worth having. Here is a mistake almost everyone makes without realizing it, and it is number 13. You show up at the port as early as humanly possible because you paid for the day and want every hour of it. The first boarding wave is the worst stretch of the whole sailing. The cabins are not ready, the elevators are jammed, the buffet is a roaring mob scene, and the guest services line is forming before the gangway is even fully open. Anyone who struggles with mobility, with heat, or with standing in a crowd absorbs the very worst of it for no reward at all. Aim for the middle of your assigned boarding window instead, late morning toward noon. By then the rush is cleared, your cabin is ready or close to it, and you walk onto a ship you can actually enjoy rather than one that is processing you like cargo. Number 12, the scramble on the last morning is the bookend to the one we just covered. The final day of a cruise is its own kind of chaos, and the people who get caught are the ones with an early flight who waited too long to plan their exit. If you can carry your own bags and want to walk off early, or if you instead need extra time and a hand getting off, you have to arrange it ahead of time. Go to guest services 2 or 3 days before the end and ask for self-assist or for priority disembarkation, whichever fits you. Ask on the last morning, and you will be told the lists were finalized days ago and there is nothing they can do. 2 minutes of asking early is the whole difference between strolling off at your own pace and watching your flight time slide away from a crowded lounge. If you are picking up things here you had not heard before, take a second and subscribe because the channel breaks down exactly this kind of thing every week. Now the comfort and health ones because the next several matter more the older we get. Number 11 is almost free money that most seniors leave sitting on the table. Cruise ships carry a whole quiet list of comfort items they will gladly bring to your cabin, and they advertise almost none of it unless you ask. A softer mattress topper for a too-firm bed, foam pillows instead of feather, distilled water for a CPAP machine, a shower stool for the bathroom, a small fridge to keep medication cold. None of it shows up on its own. The whole ship runs on a quiet assumption that passengers will take whatever they are handed, and almost everyone does exactly that. So ask on day one, calmly and directly at guest services or with your cabin steward. If you use a CPAP, call ahead before you sail and have them set the water and the outlet up in advance, because sorting it out at midnight on the first night is nobody's idea of a vacation. Ask about a raised toilet seat or a grab bar for the shower too, because the standard cabin bathroom was not designed with a 65-year-old's footing in mind. The travelers who ask sleep better and breathe easier all week. The ones who wait to be offered are still waiting on the final night. Number 10 is about the mobility devices. If a scooter or a powered wheelchair is part of your trip, the mistake is turning up with it unannounced. Cruise lines want these registered ahead of time, usually a few weeks before you sail, through their accessibility or special needs desk. And there is a practical reason for the deadline. That registration is what tells them to assign you a cabin the device can actually get into and turn around inside. Skip it, and you can reach the pier only to learn your booked cabin door is too narrow for the scooter to pass, and the only fix that morning is paying out of pocket to move to a wider, accessible cabin, if one is even free. So call the accessibility desk early, get the cabin and bathroom door widths confirmed in writing, and ask whether the device can stay in the cabin overnight and charge safely there. The details shift from line to line, so confirm them with yours rather than guessing. Number 9, and leave the tape at home. Some people love to dress up the cabin door for a birthday or an anniversary or a family reunion at sea, and the instinct is sweet. The walls and doors wear a marine-grade coating built to survive salt and humidity, and adhesive can pull at that finish or leave residue that takes professional work to fix between sailings. Some lines will quietly bill you for the repair, and the charge is not small. Those same walls and doors are metal underneath the paint though, so bring a few magnets and a magnetic hook instead, and you can hang up whatever you like with no risk at all. Decorate to your heart's content, just skip anything sticky. Number 8, the Do Not Disturb sign, and this one surprises people. A lot of seniors hang it on day one and leave it up the whole trip because they sleep in, they nap, or they just want their privacy, and all of that is reasonable. Here is the part that catches them off guard. On most lines, if that sign stays up for roughly 24 hours straight, the crew is required to do a welfare check, which means they will knock and then come in to confirm you are all right. People hear that and assume some maritime law is forcing it. The truth is a lot gentler. It is a cruise line safety policy, the same kind hotels on land have adopted, and the only goal is making sure nobody is in trouble behind a closed door for a full day. Flip the sign down once a day, even just heading out to dinner, and you keep your privacy without the unexpected knock. Number 7 is the one almost everybody is guilty of, and it is the mistake that opened this whole video. You wait until the very last night to actually look at your onboard account. Please do not wait that long. The running bill is exactly where the errors hide, and they happen far more often than you would guess. A drink you never ordered, a package you prepaid that somehow got charged again on board, a spa treatment you canceled still sitting there waiting to be paid. Caught on day 2 through the ship's app. Any of those takes 5 minutes and a calm word at the desk to make right. Caught on the last night, it becomes that 40-person line at 7 in the morning with a flight bearing down on you, which is precisely where this whole thing began. The ship's app lists every charge the moment it posts, so a 2-minute scroll with your morning coffee is genuinely all it takes. Check your account every couple of days, and the single easiest mistake on this entire list simply never happens to you. Now, the cabin and safety ones, and a couple of these are the real difference between a great trip and a genuinely bad day, so do not tune out before the last 6. Number 6 is one nobody warns you about until the first night, and it is the pitch black cabin. A cruise cabin with the curtains drawn gets darker than almost any bedroom back home. No street light, no hallway glow under the door, nothing at all. Then you wake at 3 in the morning needing the bathroom in a small, unfamiliar room with furniture you have not memorized yet, and that is exactly how a lovely trip turns into a fall and a visit to the ship's medical center. Falls are one of the most common serious injuries the medical staff sees, and a strange dark room in the middle of the night is where a lot of them begin. The fix costs about $1 and weighs nothing. Pack a small plug-in nightlight or a couple of the stick-on battery kind and put a little light between the bed and the bathroom. A fair number of cabin stewards will even bring you one if you ask on day one. A bad fall at sea is a very long way from your own doctor at home. Number 5, your medications, and this is the one I would not get casual about at any age. Keep every prescription in its original labeled pharmacy bottle rather than loose in a daily organizer, because port customs can question unmarked pills, and that is not a conversation you want at the gangway. Bring more than the trip strictly needs in case of a delay getting home, and carry a simple written list of everything you take and the dose. A few controlled medications, certain sleep and anxiety prescriptions among them, may need to be declared, and those rules have tightened over the past couple of years, so check with your line before you sail rather than learning it at the security checkpoint. If you do run short because the trip ran long, the ship's medical center can sometimes help, but it is far cheaper and far calmer to simply pack a buffer. A basic seasickness remedy is worth tucking in as well, because the ship's shop sells it at a steep markup and a visit to the medical center is never free. And whatever else you do, keep all of your medication in your carry-on, never in the checked luggage that will not reach your cabin until late afternoon. Missing a dose because your suitcase is parked on a cart 3 decks away is a miserable way to start a vacation. Number 4, the cabin safe, and the mistake is trusting it completely. Treat it as a convenience, because that is honestly all it is. Change the code the moment you board, and please do not set it to your anniversary or your birth year, which is the first thing anyone would try. Pick something random with no connection to you. The bigger idea is to stop putting everything in one place. It is one safe with one code, and if it fails or somebody gets it open, you lose all of it at once. So spread your valuables out. Keep some emergency cash and a backup card hidden separately in your luggage. Leave the truly precious jewelry at home, and for serious amounts of cash, there is a main safe down at guest services. And here is the dry little truth about that cabin box. Its real job is to stop a curious stranger and to give you peace of mind. It was never built to stop a determined one. Number 3 is the balcony cigarette. Smoking or vaping out there feels private, like a small pocket of space that belongs only to you, and it is in fact one of the most closely watched spots on the entire ship. The smoke and the smell travel straight into the next cabin through the shared vents, and modern ships pick it up fast. The detectors are sensitive enough now that no crew member ever has to see you. The system flags it on its own. The fines are real and they bite, running from around $250 on a line like Norwegian up to $500 on Carnival, and if it sets off the wrong alarm, you can be put ashore at the next port with no refund and no second chance. This covers vaping just as much as cigarettes, which genuinely surprises people. If you smoke, it is not the end of the world. You simply use the designated areas, which are marked on your deck map, and you can ask guest services to point them out on day 1 if the map is unclear. Just understand that the balcony is the single most expensive place on the ship to light up. Number 2 is pure physics rather than policy, and it is opening both doors at once. Never open your cabin door and your balcony door at the very same time. A cruise cabin sits inside a pressure system, and when both doors open together, the air rushes through and they can slam shut with startling force. It happens most on embarkation afternoon. The steward brings your bags through the hallway door, you slide the balcony open for some air, and 3 seconds later your cruise documents are somewhere out in the Atlantic and your vacation is starting in the guest services line. Anything light on the desk, your boarding papers, your reading glasses, a phone, goes sailing, and a heavy door snapping shut on a hand is no small thing for someone with slower reflexes or arthritis. You will sometimes hear this wrapped up with a story about shipwide air conditioning fines, and that part is simply not true. The lines have confirmed an open door only affects the climate in your own cabin and nobody else's. The real reason is plenty on its own. One door at a time, close the hallway door fully before you slide the balcony open, and tuck your loose papers into a drawer the moment you walk in. And number one, the one I will say as plainly as I possibly can, the balcony railing is a safety barrier. It was never meant to be a seat to perch on or a prop to pose against for a photo, and treating it like one is the single most dangerous thing I watch older travelers do at sea. The ship is always moving under you. A gust out on open water can come from nowhere and pass 30 miles an hour with no warning at all. A sudden swell shifts the deck beneath your feet in a way you cannot predict and cannot correct for once it starts. Add a glass of wine, add the easy relaxation of vacation, add the quiet belief that you are being careful, and the whole thing can change in half a second. And the cruise lines handle this with zero patience because they have seen exactly how it ends. People have been escorted off and banned from a cruise line for life over a single railing photo, and others have gone over the side and not come back because the odds of surviving a fall into open ocean are slim. Those railings are built tall and solid for one reason, to keep you on the ship and alive. So keep both feet flat on the balcony floor, always, and if you want the better view or the better shot, stand up straight on the deck and lean on nothing whatsoever. No picture in the world is worth that half a second. So before you book that next cruise, run these back through your head one more time, because the only thing separating the senior who gets quietly fleeced from the one who sails easy is knowing all of it was coming. And now you know it. Here is what I am actually curious about, though. Which one of these did you have to learn the hard way on a cruise that already cost you the money or the day? Put it down in the comments, because somebody booking their first cruise in years is reading them right now, and your story is exactly the thing that saves them the trouble.